um, Q&A, I think.
I think so.
Was Bill as well, do you think?
Bill said I think Bill's moderating this.
Okay.
I told Bill it needs to be short because I have to go moderate a panel on our pitch competition immediately afterwards.
Right.
So we can't run over here.
Good stuff. So we got 4 viewers. So
I don't see that yet.
Oh, there it is. Been watching. This is a new technology platform for me, but here's Jessica.
I missed Jessica's talk because we were in this field.
Here we go.
Here I am.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jessica.
Nice to see you guys here because I wasn't sure if I was coming in the right room or not.
This is, I hope this is the right place. We've either all got it right or all got it wrong.
Right. There's safety in numbers. I'll let Jody know we're all in here.
I'm not sure
Jessica, I missed your talk. I missed your talk because I popped into this room. So you got to tell me quickly, what did you talk about in 3 seconds?
Well, we're a digital platform to save, store, design, protect, and preserve people's stories. So we did a pilot with Eden Care. So I talked mostly about that and the importance of stories and how all the elements, as you know well, Mel, of technology can help us preserve those, but also help with memory longevity and things like reminiscent therapy and such. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Bill's here too, so we must be in the right spot.
Yeah. Are we in the right place?
Oh my gosh. It's the trifecta of the 3 presenters who were, each of you was seriously like fantastic. Really, Mel, nice to see you. It's been 40 years, possibly.
We found out Bill and I went to school together about 40 years ago. And I didn't remember at the time. Bill's a couple years ahead of me, but he was like Mr. Sheldon Williams, head of our football team, head of our student council, Mr. Popularity. We never crossed paths because I was the nerd who hung out with the lighting club and the chess club.
And here we are today. My trajectory went like this, and yours went here, and now we meet again. Eh?
Meet
as long as we're not crashing.
So thank you to all. So can you see up in the top left corner? You see a little countdown clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when that gets to 0, that's when we go live. And what we'll probably do is we'll wait like probably have. Oh, it looks like there might be some people in our room already, but that's okay. We won't start until it gets to 00. And what we'll do is we'll go through, and then when it gets to about a minute, that's when we'll start to. I need about 30 to 45 seconds to wrap it up. So I've got a couple questions for you from each of your perspectives. Feel free to just say what's on your mind. That's all good. And I'm telling you, the 3 of you, like all that you presented was just so interesting, like really, really interesting. And it's just, you each come from a different perspective. So I don't know if you've all seen them or not, but I hope you saw the recordings.
I saw most of Mel's. I saw a little bit of yours, Jessica. I was going to say that area that you're talking about is a specialty of my sister's, actually. Who's got her PhD. She's a psychologist in London, but she recently wrote a book called "All the Ghosts in the Machine." So I'd recommend you have a look at that because it's.
Well, I will, and I actually was going to reach out to you because I used to work in a different field, but in people standing, not sitting at a desk, and needing some solutions. So I was going to reach out to you to do some intros anyhow.
Of course, yeah.
So I'll do that.
So Elaine Casket is her name with a K. Okay. Casket with a K, and it's her book is called "All the Ghosts in the Machine," and it's really, really in line with kind of what you were talking about. So you might find that interesting.
I will for sure. Fabulous! See, look at what you've done, Bill.
And then Jessica, we need to get you. We'll talk. We need to get you connected into the CABHI stream somehow.
I've actually already reached out to Mel and booked a meeting with his associate. So.
Fantastic.
And Muno's going to set something up in a couple of weeks for us.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Storytelling is key for us.
Yeah.
All right, you're the ultimate connector, Bill. 5, 4, 3.
Get close.
Well, good morning, everyone. And those of you who are on the East Coast, good evening or good afternoon, I suppose. And those of you that are beyond the East Coast, Good evening to you. Welcome to everyone. This is the live question and answer session with Mel, Jessica, and Justin, talking about technology in the future. Each of you were exceptional presentations, so informative and quite inspiring. It's like, how do we get going? We got to get going. So let's just jump right into this. And we've got about 10 minutes here, so let's get right at it. Each of you, so yesterday and this morning, we heard about humanity and technology. How do we keep the human in the equation here? And I'd like to ask each of you to tell us, because each of you lives in a different space, how do you include humanity and the human experience in this wildly extravagant and interesting technology advances that you're connected to? So why don't we start with Jessica, and then we'll go to Mel, and then close with Justin. And so how do you include humanity in the work you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think like anything, technology is an enabler for whatever you choose it to be an enabler for. So I think in ensuring that humanity exists is like using our power for good, not evil, is ensuring that we're designing with humans, for humans, respecting and honoring. Like for us, it's about respecting and honoring a story and allowing the space for it to be as unique and vibrant as it possibly is, while working really closely. Like we spend a ton of time with our users, just asking the questions, watching what they do. We remember who we're designing for and why we're designing. And I think those things at the forefront of our mind as we design is how we keep it human.
Mel, you see
Yeah, I agree with Jessica. It's it's meant to be enabling. There's so many interesting technologies out there. Earlier, one of your presenters, Nick, was talking a lot about robotics, and we've had a lot of discussion about that here at CABHI and with other folks. That how does a robot really take the place or replace what a human's doing? They're not meant to replace the human element in that. They're meant to supplement it. Today, you're hearing all across Canada, and folks like Andre Picard has just written a new book about what's going on in long-term care. And there's just so much need right now that there's social isolation issues, especially highlighted during COVID and other things that, seniors are not getting enough attention and care today. So if a robot can supplement what the humans can do and should be doing, that's fantastic. The human element still has to be there. That's key. But if the robots in between can supplement it, or if there's kind of as I talked about and Nick talked about too, the virtual reality or augmented reality kind of sections where you saw a robot that I showed called LEQ, which has a tablet which interfaces kind of the human element and the technology elements at the same time. But they have to work hand in hand.
Thank you, Mel. Justin.
Yeah, in terms of bringing humanity to the equation, as from my presentation, which hopefully you all got to see, it's really comes down to equity and inclusion for the workforce, who directly impact and touch, obviously, residents of communities, et cetera, the elder population. So I think there needs to be an acknowledgement that this type of worker has typically not been engaged or included or treated equally. And so I think it's important that technologies built for connection are actually designed to not only connect with, but truly engage, so that it's not a dehumanizing feel. There's a lot of tech out there. There are hundreds of communication apps and things like that exist. But if they're not architected in the right way, they can actually serve to isolate further or not meet the needs of that particular workforce. So it's living in the shoes of others, which is really important for these essential workers.
Well, thank you to each of you for that. It's good to hear that humans are still at the center of the equation, and all the gadgets and gadgets bells and whistles. It's all about the human. So let's just to go a little further here. So, we talked about, we've heard that the pandemic has accelerated and changed a lot of perspectives and made a lot of things come to life much sooner than they might normally. For example, even with us, RedeApp came to life and had huge value during the pandemic. But each of you, you live in this space. What's it going to take in the next couple of years for the things that you're attached to really land? Like, again, we talked about this one. We don't want another pandemic. Is it going to be government funding? Is it, what is it that's going to take? So let's start with Mel, and then we'll go to Justin and then Jessica. Mel, what's going on?
Yeah, that's interesting, Bill. I mean, I'm sure hoping that one of the small silver linings from behind this horrible pandemic is that we've seen the real need for this vulnerable population of seniors, and therefore there has been some, by necessity, this rapid adoption of certain technologies like telehealth, telemedicine, programs, products that will help with things like social isolation, and I think we hopefully have seen we can't go back to where we were before. That we'll just keep building upon these things. And there's going to have to be a combination of both policymakers and the health ecosystem saying we need to continue to amend things to keep up this momentum. And we've uncovered a lot of the issues to deal with older populations, especially those living in congregate care. And we have to have technologies that help reduce the cost of the health ecosystem and or provide so much value that people are willing to pay for them. And then we have to also address the accessibility for everybody. So those will be the key points over the next couple of years.
Well, those sound completely doable, Mel.
No problem. We're on it.
Good thoughts, though. Very, very astute. Justin, what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think the best thing to kind of picture what life for the non-desk worker and the essential worker looks like over the next couple of years, and what companies need to be considering. If you look at what the world has been like, if you take it decade to decade for desk-based workers, like most of us desk-based workers or people working in a social media space, you have a period of innovation followed by a period of proliferation of technology that capitalizes on that innovation, which then eventually gets succinctly put into and consolidated into a real connection for those workers, something very streamlined, something very efficient for that particular worker. And for the non-desk worker, we're in a place where that innovation has really come in the form of a smartphone. And there needs to be a recognition that it's not just okay to proliferate technology which operates on that smartphone, because that's kind of a blunt force instrument. Over the next 2 years, I would expect to see this proliferation of apps that supposedly serve this workforce, but a consolidation down to real connection, which is acting as a mobile cloud, a single point of access for people to go in and get everything they need in one place, instead of going to 20 different places to get 20 different things that they need. So that not only serves the workforce, but that also serves the needs of the organization for whom those workers work.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, you're a real champion for the non-desk worker, and I just love how you've put the spotlight on essential workers are essential all the time. So thank you for that, Justin. Jessica.
Yeah, if I put my hat on like the first speaker this morning and I'm looking into the future, or I'm already there, I think, a couple of the things both Mel and Justin said. One, policymakers, we're seeing individually or even at a family unit, people are adapting really quickly to change. And then where it hits a brick wall is some sort of systematic approach, which is either, government policy, certainly not Eden Care, but some other large organizations we worked with where the innovators actually get blocked instead of someone paving the road for them. So I think just a systematic and organizational approach, and that just takes a couple of brave people to stand up and say, no, you guys, we're going to do it different. We're going to do it faster at a government level or at an industry level. So I think we need to see those shifts in order for the momentum to stay. And I also think we're going to see a shift in regards to how people are paying attention to where their data is and how they're using their data. Like we talked about this cloud where you can access everything and it should be really well presented and organized for you, is that your data starts working for you as opposed to just working for the advertising agents, the other places that are benefiting from having such good, rich data, that it starts to make your life easier for you.
Starts to make your life easier for you. That sounds very human-centered. Thank you for that, Jessica. So we're into our final wrap-up here. We've got probably 10 to 15 seconds each. Mel, final word from you?
I think the future is really that we have to focus on how we help older adults living where they want to live, whether it's at home first and accessing technologies to help improve quality of life.
Fantastic. Justin, 10 seconds.
All right. Be brave, challenge yourselves, Make sure that you understand the needs of the people that you're meant to be serving, and ask yourself, am I doing enough?
Fantastic advice. Jessica.
Final words are, I have to say this, everyone's story matters. And so whether it's technology or not, make sure that the people that you have in your lives, that you're capturing their stories, that you're capturing the richness of what came before us so that it can be passed to what comes after us. This is critically important for how we learn, how we evolve, and just how we create community within ourselves.
Outstanding. Mel, Jessica, Justin, thank you so much. I know it's a compressed time frame, but that's okay. Really great insights. Each of you is delightful and insightful. So to our participants, we're going to move on over to Aging in Place. Start with Megan O'Connell. This session is sponsored by the Saskatchewan Health Research Foundation, and we encourage you to pop on over to that session. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.